Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. We are in Thailand. New location for the next little bit here. We're doing a Southeast Asia trip with my sister and my family for the next month. And then in December, I'm actually meeting my partner in Asia. So I'm going to stay here. We're doing another round of traveling. So a lot of traveling in the next couple months here. In case you guys are curious, we are going to Taiwan, which is originally where I'm from, to visit my family. So that's going to come up in the next couple weeks here. Then Bangkok, Da Nang, which is in Vietnam. That's my trip with my sister and my family. And then in December, my partner and I are doing Bali, Bangkok again, and then we're going to Krabi, which is in Thailand. So I'm really excited. The last time I was here was in 2023, and I lived in Chiang Mai, where I am right now, from the end of 2023 until I think it was like March of 2024. So it's been a while since I've been back, and it's been nice. It's very hot, it's very humid, which is why I'm like in a t-shirt. And I'm escaping the Canadian winter because if you guys know me, I am not a winter, snow, cold type of person. I need to be in the heat. So that's like a life update, I guess. I'm in a whole other country and the opposite side of the world. I'll be here for the next few months until January. Then I fly back home in January. A lot of you have been asking me if I'm still working and seeing clients during this time. And yes, I still am, even though I'm traveling quite a bit. I do set time aside for my clients, for new consults, for meetings and stuff. So if you're looking to book a consult with me, you can just go to the show notes below. And there's an application for you to fill out. And then you select a time to have a free consult. Let me know, by the way, if you aren't able to find a time that works for you. I'm obviously not in my usual Pacific time, so the time might look kind of strange, but yeah, let me know if you're not able to find a time. We can certainly work something out. I thought I would be exhausted from flying literally 24 hours to go from Vancouver to Chiang Mai, but I don't get any jet lag, which is interesting. I landed and I went straight to work, and that was it. And now I'm here. My days are looking like really early mornings because I do have calls in the morning, and I'm going to cafes to do some work. And then I usually go to the gym, trying to get my routine in right now. It's a bit of an adjustment. It happens whenever I travel. It's just adjusting to the area and, finding grocery stores, finding a good gym to go to. And then I also work in the evening as well. While I'm here in Asia, I'm really looking forward to eating a lot of night market food, shopping, and just spending time with my family. So yeah, I'm super excited. I'm very excited. It's a very much needed mini vacation, I would call it, because I'm still working. It's been so busy back home in Vancouver, just back to back with coffee chats and meetings and stuff like that. So I've booked a couple spas and like getting my hair done and doing massages just to calm my nervous system because it's been a little bit out of control, and I'm definitely feeling it now that I left Vancouver, which is interesting. I always notice my symptoms come up after I've settled down because that comes with, when your body is in constant fight or flight and you're always doing something. In those moments, you don't actually experience symptoms. It's like when you finally come down and relax, that's when the symptoms start to creep up. So I'm feeling it a little bit, but as someone who has been through this so many times, I know exactly how to manage my symptoms. But yeah, that's my life update here in Asia, and excited to actually talk about today's episode, which is different than the other topics that I've been talking about. We're actually going to be talking about weight loss today. I know a lot of people, especially during this time of the year, are really trying to hit their weight loss goals, especially after a busy summer of parties, barbecues, patio season. It's more difficult to focus on your health goals during the summertime. And so this is the time where a lot of people are like, okay, I'm ready to lose some weight, shed some pounds. However, the problem for a lot of people is thinking that weight loss is just about avoiding foods and restricting your diet. And so in today's episode, I really want to dive into why weight loss isn't just about calories in and out. While it's important to know your general caloric intake and how much you're expending every day, because we know with weight gain, it depends on how many calories you're eating throughout the day, but also how much you burn off at the resting rate, but also exercise as well. So if you're someone who is really struggling with weight loss, you've done all the diets, the yo-yo dieting, and you're just really not finding those results, then this episode is going to be perfect for you, because we're not only going to talk about nutrition and diet, we're going to talk about other factors and root causes that can actually make weight loss become more difficult. Or even if you're someone that isn't struggling with weight loss, but you're genuinely curious about how weight loss works from a sustainable perspective from a dietitian, then make sure you listen until the very end. Without further ado, let's get into today's episode. So when it comes to weight loss, you don't need to eat less. You just need to eat right for your metabolism. Everyone's body is very unique. Some people have a faster metabolism, other people have a slower metabolism. And so that will impact what your diet looks like, what your overall lifestyle looks like as well. This is why there's no one size fits all when it comes to weight loss. Like, you're not just going to go on a 1200 calorie diet and expect the weight to come off, because we really have to look at your individualized needs, then calculate your calories, your protein, and looking at other factors that can contribute to weight gain or weight loss. And so while calories are important in terms of achieving weight loss, we also want to make sure you're getting enough nutrition, there aren't any nutrient deficiencies, we're supporting your gut microbiome, we're balancing your hormones, because all of that can impact weight loss. So the common misconception I want to debunk is that weight loss isn't just about calories in or out. We're taught to believe that weight loss means that if you just eat fewer calories, then you'll achieve the ideal weight. However, chronic caloric restriction, meaning that you're on a very strict caloric diet, low calorie diet, whether it's less than 1200 calories, let's say, can actually slow down your metabolism in the long run. This is why you see a lot of people who go on these really strict diets, low calorie diets, 1200 calories or less. They definitely do lose the weight, because, when you lower your calories, you are going to lose weight. But as soon as they try to eat more than 1200 calories, their weight completely bounces back. So how does this actually happen? Let's actually talk about this. So there is something called a resting metabolic rate, RMR, and this is basically how many calories that are burned at rest. This is not including activity levels or exercise. It's at rest, meaning when you're breathing, when you're resting, how many calories are you actually burning? Now, when you have chronic undereating or you're eating very, very low calories, your body is essentially in starvation mode, because you're starving yourself from the calories and the nutrients your body needs. And this actually lowers your RMR. It causes a shift in your thyroid hormones, actually reducing the activity of your thyroid hormones. And when there's a significant shift in your hormones in a way that's not supportive of your body, it affects your metabolism, causing it to actually slow down. And there are a few key hormones that are important here when it comes to strict dieting. One hormone is called leptin. Maybe you guys heard about leptin before. It's the hormone that signals your body that you feel full, the satiety feeling. Now, when you have chronic undereating and restriction, the leptin hormone actually drops quite significantly, which results in you having increased hunger. This is why we see a lot of people with strict dieting, they're just always craving food, they're always hungry. But because they really want to stay under calories, they just allow themselves to feel hungry and not feel great. This is how everything backfires, because you do not want to be starving. When you're starving, it lowers your RMR, the resting metabolic rate, which then slows down your metabolism over time. But not only this, it causes additional stress on the body, which can result in increased fat accumulation. And this happens from the stress hormone, which I know a lot of you have heard me talk about, cortisol. Cortisol increases when you're chronically undereating, chronically eating low calories, leading to elevated amounts of cortisol. And when there's elevated amounts of cortisol in the body, this is when fat accumulation starts and even insulin resistance. So not only are your leptin levels, which is the hormone that signals satiety, decreases, which then increases your hunger, your cortisol level becomes elevated, which accumulates fat in the body. Then we also have another hormone called ghrelin. Ghrelin is the hunger hormone. It's the hormone that signals to your body, okay, I'm hungry, I want to eat food, I want to have a meal, which everybody has and experiences. However, when you have restrictions, very low calories, that hormone spikes, leading to increased cravings, increased hunger. So The cycle becomes very concerning because you're chronically hungry, you're starving, you're having cravings, but you're forcing yourself to not crave, to not starve, but literally the hormones are doing that. And all of this becomes a recipe for disaster because your body's basically in starvation and you have hormones that are out of balance, which you need in order to achieve sustainable weight loss. I have an example of a client who went through this exact scenario, and I think a lot of people do. She is in her perimenopausal phase, I think even in menopause now, and she was restricting her diet down to, I think she did like 900 or 1,000 calories, which is absolutely insane. Please, 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 guys, do not do that. Please don't do that. This is why it's so important to work with a dietitian who can help you, because these strict diets, it is really, really awful for your mental health, for your physical health, for your hormones. And so please be careful and please work with somebody if you are desperate to lose weight. And I know some people are really, wanting to lose weight. Work with someone that's licensed, work with someone that's experienced in this field. So she went on a very low calorie diet to lose weight. She lost like 10 pounds within, I think, less than a month. Felt okay, definitely felt like she was always hungry. As soon as she wanted to increase her calories by a little bit more, her weight would jump right back up because her metabolism slowed down. And so what we did instead was to increase her calories to the amount that is reasonable for her age, for her weight, and her activity levels. We reintroduced balanced meals, lots of protein, which is really important for preserving muscle mass and actually promoting weight loss, increased her fiber, and her metabolism slowly start to recover while we were achieving fat loss. So the takeaway for your metabolism and calories in and out is eating too little for too long is very detrimental to your body, and your body can actually hold on to fat because of all the hormones and the stress changes in your body. You want to nourish your metabolism. You don't want to stall it. Now, the other thing that's really important that I mentioned briefly is the protein, fats, and fiber. Another misconception when it comes to weight loss is you need to fast. You need to do intermittent fasting so that you can burn more calories and put your body in ketosis. Now, while this works for some people, I have seen others really don't do well with intermittent fasting, which again tells us that each person is unique. Just because someone else did really well intermittent fasting doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work for you. When you have irregular meals or you're skipping meals, skipping breakfast, skipping lunch, this is going to cause your blood sugar to go up and down. You're having spikes and you're having crashes. When your blood sugar levels are having spikes or crashes, this is when cravings start to increase. Or you'll notice that when you skip meals throughout the day, you get super hungry at night and then you overeat. You overindulge, and then you eat all of your calories back at nighttime, way too close to bedtime. That actually causes you to gain weight rather than lose weight, even though you feel like you've eaten less calories because you've skipped all day of meals, but you're actually eating it all back in the nighttime, or you have more sugar cravings and carb cravings, and so your meals are super dense. So having protein and fiber throughout the day is really going to help with this because protein stabilizes your blood sugar, which is what we want, but it also helps with promoting muscle and growing your muscles, which is important for weight loss because the more protein you get, the more muscle that you're gaining, given that you're exercising and doing some weight training, which is also important for weight loss. And when you eat more protein, you also feel more full. You'll have less of those cravings and you won't want to indulge or feel like you need to snack throughout the day. And fiber is important as well, which is what we get from fruits, vegetables, beans, and legumes, even nuts and seeds. It helps slow down glucose absorption. Glucose comes from the sugar that you get from food. When you have enough fiber in your diet, when you eat foods with carbs in it, which by the way, we don't need to avoid carbs, then it prevents your blood sugar levels from spiking and crashing. And there's actually some really good research studies that talk about weight loss and how high protein diets and including fiber into your diet helps with weight loss. Specifically, there's a really interesting study published in 2024 called "The Resistant Starch Intake Facilitates Weight Loss in Humans by Reshaping the Gut Microbiota." And what they did in this study was that they selected overweight and obese participants to take resistant starch. Resistant starch is a type of starch that your body doesn't actually digest, but instead it's fermented by the beneficial bacteria in your large intestine. It acts as a prebiotic, which is the food that your gut bacteria needs, and it helps to promote a healthy microbiome. So, in this study, they gave these overweight and obese participants resistant starch, and they saw that after 8 weeks, their insulin sensitivity improved. They also were able to achieve 2.8 kilos of weight loss. Not only did they achieve weight loss, they also saw changes in their gut bacteria. So, this tells us again that restricting your diet isn't the only way to lose weight. And in fact, we need to be careful with how much we restrict because of your metabolism, but also including nutrients in your diet that is required for sustainable weight loss, like protein and fiber. Besides the nutrition piece, when it comes to your meals, ensuring that you're getting enough nutrients, especially protein and fiber, we also want to look at your nervous system. I know, nervous system literally applies to everything. Eczema, gut healing, weight loss, but it truly, truly, truly is such a critical component when it comes to every aspect of health. I'm not going to dive into exactly all about the nervous system. I have several episodes about this. Even the last episode, I talked about the gut-brain connection, how your mental health can actually be impacted by the state of your microbiome, the state of your gut health. Now, when it comes to weight, when you have a dysregulated nervous system, you have high stress levels, it's like 10 out of 10, you're constantly working, you're constantly busy, you don't take breaks, you're burnt out. Fat loss is going to be so challenging when your body is in constant fight or flight. So if you are eating properly, you're having your balanced meals, you're exercising, you're doing weight training, you're doing all the things that should lead to weight loss, but you're not seeing the weight come off, maybe you want to start looking at the nervous system component and whether or not your body is holding on to a lot of the fat because of high cortisol levels. Not only this, when you have high cortisol levels and an imbalanced nervous system, that is when other root causes are going to come up that can stall weight loss. For example, we know with chronic stress, it can lead to increased gut dysbiosis, which is more of the bad bacteria in the gut, which then leads to more inflammation. When you have more inflammation in the body, you're going to carry that as weight. It's going to look like it on the scale that you've gained weight, but really it's just your body holding on to inflammation. And we also see that in research, the mechanism of when you have a dysbiotic gut, it's going to lead to the pathogenic bacteria releasing toxins that affect inflammation, in turn, that affects the metabolism of the human body. The takeaway for today's episode is really not just looking at the calories in and calories out. It's looking at your protein, fats, and fiber, your overall nutrition. Are you getting enough or are you starving yourself? Looking at your gut microbiome. Are we nourishing it? Are we feeding it with good food? Are you taking care of your stress? Are you regulating your nervous system? Because all of these factors are critical to consider when it comes to achieving weight loss that is sustainable. I'm going to share with you 5 actionable steps you can start taking today to help with weight loss, which I already kind of talked about in this episode, but I like to share at the very end so you have some quick steps to take. Number 1, eat balanced meals every 3 to 4 hours, aiming to get enough protein, fats, and fiber. We're not skipping meals and we're not doing fasting if it's not working for you. Number 2, try to hit at least 20 to 30 grams of protein every single meal. Now, this amount's going to be dependent on your individual needs, but generally speaking, 20 to 30 grams at every meal. Number 3, adequate sleep and manage your stress, making sure you're getting at least 7 to 8 hours every night and regulate your nervous system. And number 4, make sure you're getting some sort of exercise in. We know that if you have a sedentary lifestyle, your calorie intake will need to be lower in order to achieve weight loss. And so it's important to get some sort of activity in, whether it's going for a walk. Ideally, if you can get some weight training in, that's going to be the best because that helps with promoting muscle mass. Then that will also be very helpful for achieving weight loss as well. Now, of course, weight loss obviously is a little bit complicated. If it was easy, everybody would be able to lose weight and keep it off, right? So if you feel like you need support, you want my guidance when it comes to weight loss, I would love to support you. We've helped a number of clients achieve weight loss without going on restrictive diets. I've also done it on myself as well and have seen amazing results from having a diet that I don't feel restricted to. and a good workout plan that actually works, book a free consult in the show notes below. We can talk about your goals, what you want to work on, and how we can potentially work together to help you feel better at the ideal weight that you want and just generally supporting your health. That's it for today's episode. Thank you for tuning in. And definitely stay tuned for more episodes on skin health, gut health, and healing inflammation from your favorite dietitian. Thank you so much, and we will catch you in the next episode.